Bociurkiw, a senior fellow at the Atlantic Council and the former spokesperson at the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe. And Michael, it appears that new records are set every week in terms of the scale of attacks Russia is launching against Ukraine this coming day after the president really chastised and criticized Vladimir Putin and how he's been handling the war and the messaging that he's been delivering to the White House, not matching his actions on the battlefield, something that most everyone else in the West has been acknowledging since this invasion. Talk about the response in Ukraine, sort of the whiplash to the news last week that there would be a pause in aid to now the president saying, no, we are reinstating that aid, and also the criticism now against Vladimir Putin.
Yeah, great to be with you. Whiplash is a very, very good term for what's going on in Washington. It's difficult for Ukrainian media to keep track of it. But yeah, what happened overnight was pretty extraordinary, Bianna. This was the biggest record wave of drones, mostly drones and missiles, going as far west as Lutsk in western Ukraine. And yeah, it happened shortly after Mr. Trump used that expletive to criticize Vladimir Putin. And we got a bit of a look, if you will, in Russia's press this morning of what is going on. It does look like the bromance, or the restart of the bromance between the two men, is falling apart. Bianna, you might have heard of the term the Russians use, Holodok. That's the way they're describing relations right now, as a chill between the two powers. And they really went out of their way to ridicule Mr. Trump, saying the man has 7 Fridays in a week. The Russian saying that he blows hot and cold all the time. So to me, I think this signals quite a break in what we've seen come, that Mr. Putin was basically immune from tariffs, from being criticized by Mr. Trump. But now it's game over. And each side, I think, is going to go the way they feel.
But Mr. Trump now has to figure out what leverage he has. I mean, obviously, sure, he can send more military aid to Ukraine, but that's not going to be enough, obviously, to actually stop this war, which was President Trump's aim when he first started his second term in office. He said that on day one, I'm going to stop this war. Clearly, obviously, that hasn't happened. Yeah. So in terms of options that President Trump has at his disposal, if appealing and trying to appease Vladimir Putin doesn't work, if chastising Vladimir Putin doesn't work, if sanctions haven't worked, then what will work at this point?
A great question. And I think there's a lot of frustration here on the ground, including in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, which, by the way, is undergoing a reorganization to keep track and to formulate policy. They are now sending a new ambassador to Washington, perhaps someone who's more of a pit bull to move things along. But I think what will work, and it does seem that Mr. Trump is being influenced by people in Congress who are sympathetic towards Ukraine. It does seem that he will go ahead with committing to sending weapons to Ukraine, and that includes those very, very valuable Patriot missile defense systems. According to CNN reporting, Ukraine has only about half a dozen. Zelensky said he needs as many as 25. Problem is they're in very short supply. The other thing that's happening that could be very painful for the Kremlin is the Senate bill being co-sponsored by Lindsey Graham, 85 co-sponsored at the moment, and that would place a 500% tariff on goods from countries that do business with Russia. So that would really hurt China and India. But let me throw this into the mix as well, if I can, is that, again, it's very difficult to forecast what Mr. Trump will do at the end of the day. I have too much respect for the office of the presidency to say what I feel, other than he has the attention span of a mosquito. So how are policymakers in various capitals around the world meant to keep track of what will happen next?
He has thrown Vladimir Putin a number of lifelines and ways to end this war, yes, that would even be seen by some as favorable to Vladimir Putin, and he has not bitten once. In fact, he seems to just be spitting in the president's face. All right, Michael Bociurkiw, Senior Fellow at the Atlantic Council, thank you so much. Thank you.